All right, now the next kind of view you're going to learn to create are 3D views. So you've already had a 3D view by default in your file over here. You can get to it by clicking this little house at the top or by clicking down here in the browser. This is your default 3D view. Revit will always create this for you so that you always have a 3D view. But if you'd like to save the way a view looks and put it on a sheet, you would like to create your own 3D view. So in order to do that, you can simply go to your main 3D view like we are here. And all you're going to have to do is save this view as another view. Let me say before we start that, there are two types of 3D views. There is what we're looking at now, which is an orthographic view. And I went over this in the lecture. That means all of the sides are parallel, and it basically draws the lengths and depths of the 3D sides. They're to a relative scale to each other. Whereas in perspective, vertical lines aren't always parallel, and the depth, the lines are not to scale with each other. Because in real life, when you look at something, it's not that way. So orthographic 3D views are not meant to simulate how you would see the model in real life. It's just trying to present the model in 3D to you in a way that you can see and understand what's going on. And it kind of undoes some of the limitations of, if you were standing and looking at it. There are things you can see and understand better when it's in an orthographic view. So in my sets of drawings, I always like to include a couple orthographic views. I like to look at the building kind of from above, looking down, and kind of at the front left corner. And then I also like to save a view looking down at the back right corner. So between those two 3D views, they'll be able to see the whole building. So let's hurry and do that. I'm going to turn it to how I want it. Kind of like this. And then if you go over to the view cube and you see the little house, you can right click and you can save the view. And now I can give it a name. So I'm going to call it front left and click OK. And now I'm going to spin it around to the back. And now I'm going to go on the view cube, save view. Oh, sorry. That only works once. Because when I saved this as the front left view, do you see down here, if you look over in your browser under 3D views, it created a brand new view. And now my default 3D view is no longer active. I'm no longer looking at the 3D view. You can see up here on the tab, it says front left. It created the view and automatically put me in it. So I'm going to go back to my front right view and I'm going to save it again. Because do you see it saved when I hit save on the back, it now thinks that's the view that I wanted. So let's go back to the front, right click, and we'll save the view. Now we're going to go back into our default 3D view command, and you can see it's reset everything. So it's back to black and white, which is a little bit annoying. So instead of starting from scratch, let's go back to our front view, and we're going to right click on it. And we're going to duplicate this view. And now you can see front left copy. So we're going to rename it. Oops. Rename. And we're going to call it back right. Okay. And now you can see that's the active view. You can see it's highlighted here as the active view. So now we're going to look from the back and right. And now I'm going to right click and now I'm going to save that view. Okay, so I duplicated the front left, but it was in the wrong orientation. So I flipped it around and then I saved it from the back. Okay, so now that that's done, let's just go back to, so we're on the back right view, but do you see how you can continue to move it around? We need to go back and press home. Oh, even the home's wrong. Let's see. basically, if I did this right, what should happen is I'm going to close these views. And if I open the front left, it should open it to the front left position, and it should open it to the back right position, which it did not do. So maybe I saved it wrong. So let's look at the back right. Let's save it again, save view. Let's also, the other thing I think I forgot to tell you is when you save the view, you also need to set the current view as home. So click that. So now if I move the view around and I change it, if I go back here and I click the little house button, it'll take me back to my home view. So let's do that to the front left view. So if we move it around and click the home view, it doesn't take us to the home view. So we need to go back to the front left, and let's right click and save the view, and let's right click and set as the home position. So now when I move out of the front left position and click home, it will take me back to where I was. So that's kind of what you want. Then we also want to turn on the crop region. So let's go down here and turn on the crop region, and let's trim it so that it's just our 3D view. Then we can turn it back off. And then let's turn off the levels that are showing up. Let's right click, hide in view, and we'll hide the category. So now all we have is our 3D model. Let's do that with the back view as well. So let's turn on the crop region, crop it down, and then turn the crop view off, and we can hide the category, the levels, the 3D levels that were showing up. We'll hide that category. So now it looks just like the other one. Okay, so those are orthographic 3D views. The other type of 3D view we can create is a perspective. So as if you were looking at the house. So let's just do one from the front. So we're going to go back to the main floor plan. And if you zoom out a little bit, let's go up to the View tab. And there is a command called 3D View. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on the camera. And my icon's going to change to a little camera. Oh, you know what? I'm going to escape twice to get back out of the command. Let's not crop this view. Let's turn the crop off so that we're not cropping anything. And let's go back to that command and let's pick camera. Because what was happening is if I was outside the crop region, it didn't show my little camera, and you want to be able to see your camera. So my cursor is now a camera. I'm going to click where I want to stand, and then I'm going to drag to how far back I want to look. So I want to look at it from this corner. So I'm going to click here once, and I'm going to drag all the way out past the house and click again. And so now it creates this view, and you can see the crop region is on. So I'm going to extend it so that I can see the whole house. And you can see, I can see the basement, the front porch. I'm going to actually crop it so that I don't see the basement. And there we go. And then let's turn off the crop region. And let's make it look a little better. Let's turn on shadows. And let's turn on consistent colors so that we can see some color. And then let's go to the visual graphics display options. And let's turn the lighting, let's turn the shadows down a little bit to, let's say 11. And there we go. Now it looks a little bit better. So that is now our 3D view. Let's name it. If you go over to your browser under 3D views, where's the 3D views? Right here. I need to expand it. It's called 3D View 1. And I don't know why it put it under architectural category. This is part of the template. You can change how the browser is organizing the views. And by default, it's putting your default 3D view. It put it down here under the coordination category, And when you make a new perspective, it's putting it up here under the architectural. So just keep that in mind. You might have to search for it. You're just basically looking for 3D view, 3D view 1. We're going to rename it to front perspective. And there you go. So now let's close these views. Let's just go to our main floor plan. And again, I'm going to go to the View tab and I'm going to close inactive windows. And now let's put those views on a sheet. So we're going to go down to Sheets. And we've been right-clicking and hitting New Sheet. The other thing you can do if you'd like is you could just go to an existing sheet and right-click there, and there's a Duplicate Sheet command. So we can duplicate an empty sheet, or we can duplicate that sheet and with the same views that are already on it, and it will create copies of those views, which is not what we want right now. We just want to duplicate the empty sheet. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, and then it's prompting me to save the project. Sure, I'll save the project. All right, so now it's created a copy of that sheet and it's named it sections copy, but that's not what this is now. This will be 3D views. And because we copied it, it already has filled in the drawn by and the checked by, so we don't have to fill that out. And it automatically put in the next number in line. So that's good too. So the number's right. So now that we've checked our new sheet, now we just need to populate it with our 3D views. So our perspective was up here called front perspective. We're just going to drag that on. And then we're going to go get our other views, the back right and the front left. And we'll put them on the sheet. So now you might be noticing these seem a little small. It would be nice if they filled up the sheet more. So you can double click to activate the view, and we can change them from an 1/8 inch scale to a 1/4 inch scale, and then right click and deactivate the view. If we do that though, we're probably not going to be able to fit all of them on here. So let's activate the view again. Let's pick something between 1/8 and a 1/4. So that would be 3/16. Let's see if that works. And then we'll deactivate the view. Same with this one. We'll do 3/16, deactivate the view. And then this one, I believe when you double click in here, 3D views, or sorry, perspective views do not have a scale. Because again, there's no real scale to a 3D perspective. So you can't change the size of the image by scaling it like you can with other views. To change this view, you'll select it, and then up here it says size crop. Sorry. You click that button, and now you can actually change the size of the view. What you want to do though, before you do that, you want to click this button that says scale the view, so it locks the proportions of the crop region that you created. If you don't click that, I mean, you can experiment with it. If you forget to click it, you'll know. But so we'll say we want this. Right now, it's 6 inches wide on the sheet. Let's just double that. Let's say we want it 1 foot wide on the sheet, and then click apply. And there it made it bigger. And I think we want it even bigger. So let's do 18 inches and click apply. And let's do OK. Okay, so now we'll place these views nicely on the sheet, arrange them so they look good. And then again, now that the views are placed on the sheet and they look good, we just need to make sure they're labeled properly. So let's put this right here. Let's change the length of this. And maybe we want that right there. I don't know. Again, this is mostly subjective. It's just more important that you're consistent and that everything's labeled nicely. Okay, and the numbers on the sheet should go, again, this is a company standard. Some companies like to start at the bottom corner and go right to left and up the page. So it would be 1, 2, 3. Other companies like to start like the way you would read. So you'd start with 1 here and count across from left to right and then top to bottom. So in that case, it would be 1, 2, 3, like we have it. All I care about is that you don't just do it random. If you had 10 views on the sheet, if they're not in order of some kind, I'm going to be marking you down, because in real life, that would make no sense for someone who's reading the drawings. All right, so those are your 3D views. And that's the last thing you need to do for this exercise. So you should, by the end of this exercise, have all of the same sheets I do. That is, you'll have your floor plans from previous exercises that we already made and your roof plan. And then now you'll have a ceiling plan, exterior elevations, interior elevations, sections, and 3D views. You'll take all of that and you'll print it into one PDF, or I should say export. So we'll go to File, Export. And I'm just going to, if you think you know how to do this, you can skip the rest of this video. But if you need a reminder, this is a good reminder. So again, File, Export, PDF. And we'll do this really quickly. I'm not going to explain everything I'm doing. If you need an explanation at this point, then you should go back and look at my export video. But I will show you what I would do just so that you can follow along. So we're going to pick the sheets really quickly. And then I'm going to make sure they're in the right order, all the way down. That's great. So I picked those. I'm not going to save that selection. I already set up an E1 sheet, so I'm just going to pick that from the drop down. I saved it before, so it saved all my settings below. I need to name the file. So exercise 3 is probably fine. I'm going to save it to my desktop. And then the rest of these settings should already be good. And I'm just going to export. And that will make my PDF file. So I'm going to pause for a second because it will take a minute to think. And then I'll show you the PDF file that I created. All right, it says it's done down here. It gave me a little warning, and that's okay. That's normal. It's a lot to explain, but if it says there's a raster processing has been used, that's fine. All right, so now I need to close all my windows. And we'll just open up my PDF that's on my desktop. I don't know what PDF viewer you might have. Adobe Acrobat is free and you can download it, or Adobe Reader is free and you can download it online if you just search it. But your computer probably has a default PDF viewer already that you can open this in. So if we open this up, you can see all of the sheets are in one PDF like they're supposed to be, and all of the sheets look nice and tidy. They're named, views are labeled, numbered nicely on the sheets. And that's all you need to do for this exercise.